Hey, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it's really great to see you. Well, the nerds are back.
We are not nerds, but you know what? You're right. In the last couple of videos, we have been goofing off, and then we realized the market statistics are out. So we are back to being nerds, watching the numbers, watching the data.
Yeah, it's important. And while not quite as exciting as our last report in the April numbers, still some pretty specific and incredible numbers to share with you. And of course, these numbers are from the Northern Virginia area, which encompasses 10 counties. Well, let's go ahead and get started. How about
Let's get started.
The median sold price was $732,250.
Good news here. This is up about 2% from the previous month, up 4.5% from the previous year.
Yeah, that is good news. The number of homes sold in May was 2,713.
And this was up 9% from the previous month, down 2% from the previous year.
Yeah, still big jump though from last year,
Yes.
12 months ago. The number of days on the market, and as always, we remind you that this is when a property comes on the market, is active, and then goes under contract, was 15 days in May.
Yes, and this is up 1 day from the previous month and down 4 days from the previous year. So this year is taking a shorter amount of time to go under contract.
Yeah. And then the number of homes for sale at the end of May was 4,439.
And this is up 7% from the previous month and 50% from last year. Again, amazing numbers.
That's a yowzer for sure.
Yes, compared to last year, definitely we have a more vigorous real estate market for sure.
Yeah, and as our commentary typically at the end of these reports, we are seeing, I think, some pretty dramatic changes in the marketplace. We're doing open houses. You saw last week that we had a new listing out in the Berryville area. Open house attendance, we did 2, was unbelievable, quite honestly. And a property went under contract based upon one of the people coming through this last weekend. But I think overall, we're really starting to see that this increase in inventory is also bringing a lot of buyers, but it's also bringing sellers out and willing to maybe make some changes. And we've talked about this in the past, that a lot of sellers were sitting on their properties for fear of where do they go.
Yes.
We talked about the interest rates, climbing up, and people didn't want to afford that. Well, the other fear factor was, if I do put my house on the market, where do I go? So the increase in inventory, while it certainly has increased the number of buyers that are there in the market looking, it certainly has gotten a lot of the sellers up off their couch and out looking for properties and thinking about a new home.
Yes, and with that though, this is a very special marketplace right now, in that a lot of agents are seeing that whereas it was a lot easier to get them under contract, there's a lot more skill and effort involved this time around in terms of pricing it, not necessarily, and you made a good point the other day, not just looking at closed sales within the last 3-6 months, but also looking at your competitors right now today. That is vital in this market.
Yeah.
Because the neighbors may have sold it for that much 3 months ago. Today's market is shifting, and we've reported that before. It is starting to balance out. So buyers have a lot more say in negotiating than before. And so sellers have to be very cognizant of what property condition they're going under, what marketing they're doing, and how they're going to price it for sure.
Yeah, one of the statistics that we talked about this last week was the fact that you're starting to see more price reductions. The percentages of the number of price reductions is increasing fairly dramatically. So to your point, I think you need to have the condition of the property just pretty much right on point, make it look as crisp as you possibly can. But also, again, that pricing is so dramatically important, because we've seen it as sellers, maybe even agents, have gotten optimistic about pricing. That property has lingered and sat on the market, and you're starting to see those prices come down and maybe some other favorable terms that the seller is offering in order to get their property under contract. The other thing that I've seen too, and we've been a part of this, is that sellers, especially with properties on the market for some time, are willing to consider that sale contingency, in essence, for a buyer to put their house on the market for sale while they're under contract on a property, let's say, that they want to move to. We're starting to see a little bit edging towards that. It's not dramatic yet, but we are starting to see a little bit more of a receptiveness from both agents as well as sellers, listing agents, of course, to go ahead and take a chance and let somebody get their house sold in order to purchase their property.
Yes, it's interesting times indeed, but we love to see the movement. I think just you rightly said it, people are tired of waiting for the perfect storm to come along, that they will somehow sell their home at the highest price and purchase a house at the lowest price. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be some give and take regardless.
Yeah, there is. So a lot more happening this coming week. The Fed report would be next Wednesday. And that's going to be kind of an interesting time frame because there's a lot of pressure on the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, of course, to bring down the federal funds rate as much as 1%. Now, we haven't seen that. There's a lot of news about it, and the chair, has said that he's not going to become politically involved, that this will be determined by factors. But last month's report with regard to inflation was very promising. So who knows? There's a lot to talk about in the upcoming videos, so please stay tuned.
Yes. So until next time, please, if you like our videos, please support us by subscribing. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful beginning of summer. And happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there.
Yes, happy Father's Day.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.